MotoGP's visit to Barcelona threw up some significant talking points, with rider aggression being questioned following Turn 1 carnage that saw both factory Ducati riders taken to hospital. As the dust settles after the Catalan GP, there is a lot to talk about. And first, it has to be reigning champion Francesco Bagnaia after that huge highside out the lead, from which he escaped with no fractures and relatively unscathed. Still, the number one has to be past fit to race at Misano, so it'll be an important Thursday check for the Ducati rider. Today I can only say thanks. To whom Bagnaia was referring in an Instagram post following Sunday's Grand Prix is open to your own denominational interpretation, but there is no doubting that the 2023 Catalan GP was very nearly a major turning point in the championship battle. Bagnaia's massive highside, which he couldn't really explain, and sickening tangle with Binder somehow left him with no fractures to his leg. Though needing crutches to hobble out of hospital, Bagnaia sensationally is heading back to Italy with his team and will likely head to Misano to at least give it a go. He has a healthy enough championship lead of 50 points that he doesn't need to force himself. Unfortunately, we are now in the throes of 10 rounds in 13 weeks, and so any absence would be critical. Regardless of all of this, the main thing is his well-being, and you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone in the paddock who wasn't breathing a sigh of relief upon news that Bagnaia, for the most part, was okay. If he is able to race, and he appeared adamant even before he left Barcelona that he was going to try, we can expect him to be fast, but as fast, the home crowd will be cheering him on, but it could be a tougher weekend, and that could leave the door to the win ajar at the very least. Enea Bastianini will miss upcoming MotoGP events in Italy, India, and Japan after sustaining injuries in a 5-bike pileup at the start of the Catalunya MotoGP. The Italian came off worst in the incident that was triggered when he misjudged his braking while taking a tight inside line coming into Turn 1 for the first time, first clipping Johan Zarco before swiping out fellow Ducati riders Marco Bezzecchi, Alex Marquez, and Fabio Di Gianantonio. Bastianini was subsequently diagnosed with a fracture of the malleolus ankle and a complex fracture of the second metacarpal of the left hand, for which he has since undergone surgery to correct. As a result, the beast has been ruled out of action for the upcoming San Marino MotoGP, Indian MotoGP, and Japanese MotoGP rounds. This is in addition to the 5 events he was forced to miss or curtail as a consequence of the shoulder injury he sustained in the first race of the season at Portimao after being tagged by Luca Marini. The absence at Misano will be a particularly bitter pill for Bastianini to swallow, having made the venue scene for some of his most memorable MotoGP moments, notably his 2 podiums on the unfancied Avintia Ducati in 2021 and his fight down to the wire with Bagnaia last season. For the second year in a row, the Catalan Grand Prix featured a multi-rider pileup at Turn 1 on the opening lap. Though not uncommon to the circuit, it's something that is becoming a bit too familiar in MotoGP in 2023. In the sprint race in Austria, Pramac Martin triggered a pileup at Turn 1 as he tried to recover ground from a poor qualifying. In Barcelona, Bastianini was doing the same, having been slapped with a 3-place grid drop for impeding in practice. We've seen a number of early lap collisions this season, and while this is part of racing, it has repeatedly been pointed out that the difficulties in overtaking and the new tire pressure rules are forcing riders to be much more aggressive at the start of races. Some riders in Barcelona suggested that the start lane should be moved closer to Turn 1, given the speed everyone approaches off the line there, but Alex Espargaro and Marc Marquez disagreed, claiming the onus is on the riders. I think that we are good enough to try to brake in the right point, not to try to overtake 25 riders in the first corner, Espargaro said. So it's not about where you put the start, it's about who rides the bike. It's not that difficult. We have to be a bit more relaxed in the first corner. He continued saying, 8 riders crashed today in the first corners. It's dangerous. It's difficult to learn, but believe me, it's not about where you put the start. If you put the start in the corner, but somebody doesn't want to brake, he will not brake. What are your thoughts on the race events and controversies? Should the start line be moved closer to Turn 1? And how do you think the injuries to Bagnaia and Bastianini will shake up the title fight heading into Misano? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more MotoGP coverage and analysis. Thanks for watching!